It was supposed to be just another ordinary day at the salon. But then she finally spoke and revealed a secret that froze everyone in place. The husband? He wasn't alone. And what she saw changed everything forever. What happened next? No one expected. Are you ready to hear it until the end?
Drop a like and let's get started.
It was supposed to be just another ordinary day at the salon. Laughter, the smell of shampoo in the air, small talk about husbands, kids, and daily routines. Between one nail being filed and another, we always hear it all. Lighthearted stories, complaints, and plenty of secrets. But that day, one story in particular caught everyone's imagination. I was sitting on my little stool, working on a client's pedicure. She looked anxious. While the others laughed and complained about their husbands, their laziness, their annoying habits, their lack of attention, she just sat there, silent, as if gathering the courage to finally share what she had been hiding. Then, suddenly, she took a deep breath, leaned forward, eyes fixed on the floor, and she said, "If you think your husbands are hard to deal with, let me tell you something crazy that happened to me. Just don't be too shocked." And right then, the whole salon froze. One of the manicurists dropped her tool without noticing. The hairstylist stopped mid-blow-dry and turned her head. Even the steady hum of the blow-dryer seemed to vanish. Everyone exchanged glances in silence. Nobody dared interrupt. She had finally opened the door to a secret, and we all wanted to know what was coming next. She adjusted herself in the chair, breathed in, and began. She said it had happened 2 months ago. Life with her husband was normal, the usual ups and downs, but he had always been a good partner, a provider, attentive, caring, respectful. That morning had started like any other. She woke up early, drank the coffee her husband had made, and even mentioned how sweet it was of him since he had overslept a little. She rushed to work, busy as always, but later that morning, the boss surprised everyone. There'd be no work in the afternoon. She was free to go home early. And right then, she knew exactly what she wanted to do. She said she went back home determined to surprise her husband. That morning coffee had sparked the idea of paying him back with a little love and popcorn. She laughed, saying she had always been playful that way, and her husband usually matched her energy. Now was the perfect chance to surprise him. Since he worked from home, she knew he'd be there. She slipped into the house quietly, opening the door with care, trying not to make a sound. The TV was on in the bedroom. Perfect. She thought she'd sneak in and jump right on him. Walking down the hallway, her heart raced. And since she was wearing a short dress, she decided to make the surprise even bolder. But as she neared the half-open door, she heard something strange. Not just the TV. Another breath, another voice, muffled laughter, and it wasn't coming from the screen. She froze at the doorframe. Her whole body went cold. Her gut screamed what her mind refused to believe. She pushed the door open just a little more and saw her husband wasn't alone. The salon went dead silent again, and then she said it. He was with another man. The shock was instant. One woman's eyes went wide. Another covered her mouth. Even I, holding the nail file mid-air, couldn't move. She said that when she saw them, her world stopped. Her husband was in bed, but not alone. Another man was with him. He caught her reflection in the mirror. For a few seconds, no one moved. She didn't scream, didn't make a scene. She just froze. Her heart pounding, tears welling up. Her husband scrambled to pull the sheet over himself. The other man stumbled on the floor, nervously searching for his clothes. The whole scene was pure awkwardness. She said the only thing she managed to do was cry softly, leaning on the doorframe, too weak to take a step. Her husband insisted, standing in the middle of the room, "I love you. This doesn't mean I want to leave you. I can't imagine my life without you. but each phrase sounded weaker than the last. She remembered how recently, in their private moments, he had been full of new ideas, whispering fantasies into her ear, wild, creative stories, like many couples do after years together, ways to spice things up. She admitted she liked it. She thought it was fun, but she never thought he would act on them. Rodrigo, still by her side, kept apologizing. "I never meant to hurt you. I understand your pain." And somehow those words calmed her more than her husband's desperate promises. Overwhelmed, she stood up, tried to speak, but couldn't. Instead, in a moment of weakness, she hugged Rodrigo and broke down crying loudly. Her husband, almost instinctively, stepped closer and embraced them both. And then, she said something no one in the salon expected. The silence grew heavier. She didn't know how long that embrace lasted, but through her tears, she admitted she kissed Rodrigo. Her husband's eyes widened in disbelief. He took a step back as if trying to process reality, and suddenly, he was the one looking jealous. She explained, trembling, "I can't live with lies anymore. If you want these adventures, then it has to be with me by your side. I'd rather face something unusual than carry the weight of a hidden betrayal." If he loved her, there was no reason to separate because she still loved him. And unbelievably, that's how the night ended. The three of them, confused, but bound by a decision no one could have imagined. She said that night was strange, awkward, silent, but in its own way, tender. And somehow, the idea, born in the middle of tears, began to make sense. The days after were a whirlwind. Tears, jealousy, laughter, long talks. But little by little, she realized something was different. A kind of partnership, a divided love that, as unusual as it was, began to work. As she finished her story, I looked around the salon. One woman shook her head in disapproval, another widened her eyes, clearly curious, and others, even more intrigued, almost looked envious. Faced with that heavy silence, I closed with a lighter tone. Not every betrayal ends in a separation. Sometimes it turns into an arrangement nobody else understands, except the ones living it. And that's life. Everyone finds their own way to be happy. And I ended with this. Let the one who has no secrets locked away, the kind that would shock everyone if revealed, be the first to cast a stone. I left the client sitting there, some angry, others curious, others smiling nervously, but all of them moved in some way. And so I ask you, what would you have done in her place?
We'd love to hear your story as well. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.